Chevrolet is facing a huge crisis, possibly the worst the car industry has ever seen. CEO Mary Barra's recent comments have caused a big stir among EV makers, leaving everyone scratching their heads. She's been focusing a lot on expensive EVs and hasn't paid much attention to regular gas cars, which has made a lot of regular people unhappy. On top of that, it's come out that Chevrolet has been selling trucks and SUVs with problems, tricking people, and now they have to pay fines of $106 million. The big news here is Barra's warning to other EV companies, showing just how much trouble Chevrolet is in because of the choices she's made. This not only poses serious questions about Chevrolet's survival, but also serves as a critical wake-up call to the entire auto industry, highlighting the precarious balance between innovation, affordability, and consumer trust. So let's see what exactly happened and what kind of warning did it have for all EV makers. Well, Chevrolet has hit a bump with its new electric vehicle, the Chevy Blazer EV. Just after its launch, Chevrolet and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration had to call back the Blazer EV due to some technical glitches. This has led to a temporary stop in sales of this new model after the first batch of cars showed several software issues. Owners of the Blazer EV are facing troubles with the SUV's display screens and problems when charging at fast charging stations. Chevrolet's engineers are now in a race against time, working non-stop to find a fix. They've promised that once a solution is ready, Blazer EV owners will need to take their cars to a dealer to get the software updated. Chevrolet has mentioned that only a small number of these vehicles are experiencing issues, but they haven't shared exactly how many. They also pointed out that these glitches aren't dangerous and don't involve the Ultium battery system or the Google technology that's built into the car. The Blazer EV had only just been introduced to the market a little bit ago when two major media outlets reported significant issues with their cars. Problems ranged from the infotainment screen going black and becoming unusable to charging issues that left a driver stranded during a trip. Another case saw a vehicle collecting a long list of error messages before it had to be handed over to a Chevrolet dealer for inspection, where it remains. Just imagine the alarm and frustration that comes with seeing not one, but 8 different warning messages lighting up your car's dashboard in a single day. This was exactly the case for many customers of the new Chevrolet EV that were bought less than 2 months prior and had clocked in fewer than 2,000 miles. Even in some cars, the window switches suddenly stopped responding, followed by a complete breakdown of the infotainment system. The screen was caught in a frustrating loop. It would turn off, then on, display a map centered in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and then shut off again. So, what does Chevrolet do in response to these issues? Well, they're recalling every Chevrolet Bolt ever produced, including the latest models of their electric utility vehicles. The heart of the problem lies in the batteries supplied by LG, which are feared to potentially cause fires. This action follows the discovery that 5 Bolts, none of which had been involved in accidents, spontaneously caught fire. After a deeper investigation, Chevrolet issued a second recall in July, attributing the fires to 2 specific manufacturing defects in the batteries: a torn anode tab and a folded separator. These defects could lead to short-circuiting in the affected cells. According to an AP report, these battery issues have been linked to fires in these EVs. Now, the scope of this third recall is vast, encompassing about 73,000 Bolts manufactured between the last 4 years. This recall expands the total to nearly 142,000 vehicles, with a significant portion, over $100,000, having been sold in the U.S. The financial toll on Chevrolet and General Motors is heavy, with the cost of the initial recalls estimated at $800 million, and the latest recall expected to add another $1 billion to that total. Chevrolet has stated it plans to seek compensation from LG for these expenses. Tracing back to the origins of the issue, the defective batteries at the heart of Chevrolet's recall saga were first linked to an LG Chem factory in Ochang, South Korea. Initially, it was believed that the problem was isolated to this single facility. However, a subsequent incident involving a 2019 bolt-catching fire in Chandler, Arizona, prompted a wider investigation. This inquiry uncovered that similar battery issues were also occurring in units produced at other LG factories, broadening the concern and complicating the situation. Chevrolet and LG Chem have a long-standing partnership that extends into a new, ambitious venture aimed at revolutionizing the EV battery market. Together, they've embarked on a multi-billion-dollar project to produce Ultium batteries, which are expected to be the cornerstone for a variety of new electric vehicles from GM. This collaboration has already announced plans for 2 massive battery factories in Ohio and Tennessee, with the first scheduled to start operations next year. This partnership wasn't Chevrolet's first venture into high-voltage batteries with LG Chem. The collaboration dates back back to 2008 when GM chose LG Chem to supply battery packs for the Chevy Volt plug-in hybrid, marking a pivotal moment in GM's electric journey. LG Chem was selected for its proven expertise in the nascent field of lithium-ion batteries, a decision that seemed prudent, especially in contrast to competitors like A123 Systems, which later faced challenges when its batteries led to issues in Fisker Karma plug-in hybrids. The Volt's battery composition involved a combination of nickel, manganese, and cobalt, NMC 622. This chemistry is similar to that used by other automakers, who are also navigating through their own sets of challenges and recalls related to battery technology. Companies like Ford, Hyundai, and BMW have also initiated recalls, dealing with issues ranging from manufacturing defects to software glitches, although on a smaller scale compared to Chevrolet's extensive recall. Now in electric vehicle, EV safety, the concern over the potential for fires are a very serious issue, but more serious than that is the question of whether EVs are more susceptible to fires than traditional internal combustion engine. Tesla, stepping into this conversation, presented data in a report suggesting a much lower incidence of fires in its vehicles compared to those powered by fossil fuels. According to Tesla, fossil fuel vehicles are purportedly 11 times more likely to experience a fire, with this calculation based on the number of fires per billion miles traveled. This assertion contrasts with data from the London Fire Brigade in 2019, which indicated a higher likelihood of fires in plug-in electric vehicles compared to their ICE counterparts, with a rate of 0.1% versus 0.04% of cars registered in the city, respectively. Now, this battery recall situation they had, it could have been a PR nightmare, but Chevrolet handled it with such finesse. Mary Barra, Chevrolet CEO, saying how their teams are practically living at the office, working tirelessly to sort out the battery module replacements. It's not just about fixing a problem for them, it's a mission to uphold their reputation for safety and reliability. That's commitment on a whole different scale. And it's not just about the technical fixes, it's the transparency and the swift action that really impress. There was also this thing with the door strikers on some EVs and crossovers. They found out during an inspection in Mexico that these parts might break and cause the doors to open while driving. Imagine how dangerous that could be. But Chevrolet, they didn't waste a moment. They announced a recall, pinpointing the cause to a lapse in the heat treatment process by their supplier, the Brano Group. They managed to track down the issue to 265 vehicles that were potentially affected. Just think about the logistics of that, identifying, recalling, and fixing those vehicles to make sure no one is at risk. That's not just good business. That's taking responsibility for your product and caring for your customers' safety. You see, transitioning to electric vehicles isn't as simple as it might seem. It's far more complex than just installing a battery into a chassis and calling it an EV. It's a journey far beyond the simple act of replacing internal combustion engines with batteries. The automotive industry, led by giants like Chevrolet, has learned this the hard way. Chevrolet's recent struggles serve as a stark reminder that the path to electrification is fraught with hurdles that can stumble even the most established players. If Chevrolet doesn't start really understanding what people out there want, we might just see Mary Barra leading the whole company into a nosedive. It's like a wake-up call to Mary Barra and all those other high-flying CEOs. The middle class, the everyday folks who buy their cars, they're fed up. They're saying loud and clear that it's high time these big shots started thinking about sharing the wealth, making things fair before everything just falls apart. It's more than just about cars, you know. It's about listening, really hearing what people need. The people aren't full ready for the EVs, and if they keep missing the mark, well, the writing's on the wall for all these EV manufacturers. Let's hope they figure it out soon, for everyone's sake. It's going to be interesting to see if they can turn things around, or if this is just the beginning of a much bigger change. Take care now.